does. It looks fake.
Right, Tony, we're live.
We are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome along. We've got two guests with us this morning.
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 Late again. Yes, Dave. Sorry, we're late again. Dave Ferguson watching on YouTube. Only by 1 minute. I will take full responsibility for that.
We were all busy trying to work out how to change an appy, Dave, so we to get that done before we came on.
Yeah, so guys, we're just welcoming little Killian. He won't be up for much blethering, as you can see. We've bored him already. He's completely zonked, but this is the new flat cap wearing guru of Inverurie Whisky Shop. Completely different reason for the flat cap, because he's already got more hair than myself. And probably myself and Connal put together.
And me, yes. I'll yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd pop him on for his first blether, say hello to everyone. But he's not up for much entertaining just now, so we will pop him off and we will talk to the rest of you guys. Just 1 second. This is about dropping live on TV.
Please don't do that.
Social services.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll put his hat up there.
Cheers.
Right.
So yeah. Good evening, everybody. As you can see, we've got Connal with us tonight, and a lot of people are really excited about this chat. So I can see the room starting to fill up already. A few good comments coming in. So popular guest, Connal, popular brand. I think everybody's in love with Ardnamurchan. We fall in love with it fairly early, and the love's continuing.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be on. I know I was supposed to be on. I think it was it last year or was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was just before. It was our last blether of the year, I think, if I remember right. But 2021,
right?
That Graeme took on, and then you popped on at the end.
Yeah, I think I was suffering from the old COVID, and but I remember watching it, and I was thinking, I just want to get involved here, so I think I gate crushed it late on.
It put us on for a record time because we'd already been on about 2 hours, and then you jumped in and was like, "All right, we've got to start again." So,
oh Christ, apologies. Hopefully, we won't go on that long tonight. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, let's not put that out there just yet. You never know where the conversation is going to go.
Well, this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
But once again, thanks for having us on. It's good to be here, and obviously I can see a few familiar faces in the chat as well. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we've got Stuart Dick from Mossburn on. He was on with us a couple of. Has Stuart still got the record? Then he was 3 hours.
Stuart smashed it out of the park. Yeah, he was having it.
But he's been on ever since, so it's great to see him. Great to have Stuart, and we've got Stuart in. I think the week after you, Graeme's up doing a tasting with us, Connal. So so some great events coming up. Ian Bruce is on Facebook. No, he's on YouTube. The AD0922 cast strength is amazing. We all knew that anyway, but it's nice to have it written there in front of us.
I've just noticed that Dave Facherson's, I assume Teresa's Mrs. Facherson, she's just saying that he is gorgeous. I don't know which one of us is that she's talking about, Dave.
It's got to be Connal.
It might have been Killian, perhaps.
That's why we chucked him off, is because he was taking all the limelight. We might have just lost Connal a second, but we will.
Birthday to
You back?
Yeah,
I'm back. Yeah.
I think it should be able to tell who's lost and who's still on, because we think you're lost and you think we're lost, and conversation could go a whole different direction.
You get the guys watching to tell us who's lost, because you never know which one of us it is.
What Michael's asking about the jet lag, we can blame that little blip on the jet lag.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's in the glass tonight, guys?
Sorry, glass-wise for me, I have got a wee Loch-Lee, actually.
Oh, nice.
So I've got a wee, I think it's just the core expression, just the normal straight-up Loch-Lee.
Our barley.
Our barley, thank you for rescuing me. It is in a sample bottle, so it doesn't actually tell me, but I know it's Loch-Lee.
I've got the 6-year-old that also grabbed me when it was down seeing you guys. The PX Octave.
Oh my god, that's such a good dram.
Yeah. I've obviously not been venturing into the whiskies as often in the last couple of weeks to stay awake for the midnight chant. I think I've had one night where I let myself go, but nice to come back into something like this. It's a phenomenal drink for 6 years. You guys, and there's a lot like Lockleigh and Lindors and all these young distilleries smashing the spirit out of the park. And 20 years ago, you would never see distilleries brave enough to put 6 years on a label, or 10 years ago even probably. They just wasn't really recognised as an age that people would go for, but totally changed now.
Yeah, totally changed days. I mean, obviously, our core release, the Ardnamurchan core, is it's a non-age statement whiskey, but we let you know the cask makeup within the QR code. But I think the new distilleries of that have come on board, as you've just mentioned, many. It doesn't take a genius to work out how old we are, So I think I think everyone's focusing on quality and flavour, and I think that's a good thing. I think we can get wrapped up, and I like an age statement whiskey. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to defend non-age statement or defend age statement, but I think as long as it tastes good and it's flavour driven, it's put in the bottle for the right reasons. I don't really care if it's got an age in it or not.
Yeah, and that's certainly quite a new. I mean, there will always have been people who didn't care about age, but in the norm. Certainly a 10-year-old was probably the youngest a lot of people would go for. And it's the old adage, as you said, if it's good enough, it's old enough. To steal a football analogy, I suppose, there as well. And we were seeing quite a raft of these distilleries coming out and very confident that their young spirit is good enough. And is there kind of a change in the process, a change in the mindset pre-maturation that is allowing that to happen? Or is it all about wood quality? What's been the big change there?
That's a pretty good question, actually, Mike. I think from our point of view, we had the great fortune of having the late great Dr. Jim Swan advising Alex Bruce, our managing director. He sort of chimed in from the beginning, and Dr. Jim Swan's sort of method was design a spirit that would, age not quickly, but age a lot quicker than, take the pure cat, take a very short cat. Don't let the faints go in. You're not trying to age it for 15 plus years. You're wanting to get it something drinkable 5 years in, 5-6 years in. And we did that, but we wanted to. We're a West Coast distillery. We wanted to have a West Coast style, so we tweaked a few things with Jim's blessing, I suppose. We tweaked a few bits and pieces in our production, which allowed us to, I think, develop a little bit, more weight that we wanted, and that oiliness, hopefully, and that you get in our spirit.
Yeah, it's incredible, and you're one of a many. People in the industry who have Jim Swan to thank, especially in the new kind of, and not just in Scotland. He helped with the English Whisky Company as well. I think he helped get them on the go. I think he was involved with them.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was also involved with Penderyn as well, Kavalan over in Taiwan. Did
you get the chance to meet him?
I didn't actually,
No.
Which is a massive regret. But he's done so much for the industry, especially for this new wave of distilleries. So without him, we probably wouldn't be where we are today. To be fair, so yeah.
Awesome. What are you drinking, Russell? What did you?
I'm just got the tail end off a absolutely belting Adelphi Diluin that the boys bottled for Woodwinters and Inverness. So I got it for my birthday. I think you've got a bottle of that as well, Mike, haven't you?
Yeah. I think you got this for Christmas. Tony got. You mentioned it, and Tony got it for me for my Christmas.
I got it for my birthday. That was in January, so I've done well to make it last this long. So.
I will be opening that tonight, actually.
So I've got the tail end of that, and I've also got one of the earlier bottlers. I've got an 80 0121 to go on to later on.
You guys are very good on brand. I opted for.
It's not about brand at all, but it's a good opportunity for us to concentrate on it, because Mike's got the same drinking habits as me. It's all over the place and depends on mood. It depends what's maybe new, and but sometimes a good thing about the Blether for us is it gives us a little bit of focus sometimes to remember things, or to go back and try something again, or oh god, I've got a bottle of that, because I thought I've got a bottle of the 0920 as well, and I thought I'm going to open one of those. And I thought I'll open this one, but I actually went into it and thought, oh, I've already opened it, which I'd completely forgotten about. So
it's a good surprise, and there's a good glug out of it. So
well, indeed, yeah.
We're finding that, and I don't think it's a mystery to people, but neck pour, once you get a few drams into the bottle, and you walk away for a wee while and come back to it, it does change, it does improve. There's no doubt about that. So that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting.
The only when you forget you've opened a bottle, the only downside is when you take it out of the box or whatever and it's empty, and you're like, oh shit, I thought I had a whole bottle there. That's a sign of a bad night.
Yeah, exactly. Or a good night.
On a good night,
yeah.
That would certainly explain why you can't remember opening it.
Yeah, no, I've got a few. I found a few bits and pieces down, so I have brought some bits and pieces. So I've got this is an old one of my first Adelphis that I was in charge of sort of releasing, and when I joined, is a 1983 Milton Duff in refill bourbon, and I've got a 20 year. Yeah, and a 1993 Mortlach in refill sherry, refill bourbon. So I'm sure we'll get into them later on.
But it's one of these things. I mean, when you work in the industry, and especially if you're working for a particular brand or a particular group, there's that expectation that that's all you drink. But nothing can be further from the truth. Nothing can be further than the truth. I mean, it's about exploring everything. We're whiskey punters as much as anybody else.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I suppose you're in the luxury of having an independent bottler as well, tied to the distillery. So you're kind of almost forced to be trying a lot of different spirits as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's I love all sort of aspects to my job, but one of the sort of more entertaining parts of it is selecting lists and selecting casks for Adelphi, because there's so much variety in doing that. And the only thing that we're strung up on is quality. So regardless of where it could be from, doesn't matter if it's an international whiskey or whatever it may be. As long as it tastes good, that is simply we're still small enough as Adelphi to run by that very, very basic, very simple ethos, but it simply is that. So no, it's pretty cool to be able to work with that.
Mm-hmm. But it's maybe like asking your favorite child, but do you prefer, or there's maybe no preference, but cask selection, looking at exploring flavors and profiles of different distilleries, or seeing the progression of Ardnamurchan and seeing how that's evolving, having been there since almost
look, for me it's Ardnamurchan every day. If you had asked me where it would be 4 years ago, I would have been absolutely delighted to be where we are now. I can't believe the progression it's made, the amount of love and compliments we receive on a daily basis about the whiskey. So we're really happy with the place that we're in, the direction of where the whiskey's going, and we're just doing our thing quietly out in the west, and just keeping our heads down, and I think there's another exciting year ahead. There's some things in the pipeline, and some different things as well. But that core release at 50-50 split of peated and unpeated, 65 bourbon, 35 sherry, that house style, if you will. Still getting out there at 45 quid. God knows how long that's going to last. We're holding as long as we can.
Incredible value.
It doesn't really help when duty goes up in the middle of everything as well.
Well, indeed.
But let's not dwell on that tonight.
No politics or sport are allowed in a football chat, a whiskey chat.
We can have a football chat if you want.
But it's interesting you say that the Ardnamurchan is without a doubt where you want to go, because I think most guys would say the same. I think it's fortunate to have an indie bottling line or an indie bottling business there that's the funding and everything's in place to kind of keep things secure. But even the guys that have been making aquavita or making gin or whatever, it's all about the spirit and the distillery and doing something different and something new. And I guess that's what you're saying there is seeing the spirit progress.
Yeah, it's getting to work with it day in and day out now. It's really it's a privilege, but I'm really starting to feel like I really know it now. And that sounds silly, I've 5 years now with the company, but I think we're really hitting our stride in regards to the blending team, which is a small amount of us. It's it's Graeme Mackay, as you know, Jenny Carlson, Antonia Bruce, Alex, our managing director, and myself. And we've pretty much since inception we've been blending it. So I've been very lucky to be part of every single batch, blending every batch, which is pretty cool. And yeah, but I mean, not to take anything away from Adelphi. I mean, it's still very cool to work and select casks. In fact, I've just put the bones together of another Adelphi list in the offing. So, and Adelphi this year is celebrating 30 years. So we're 30 years as an independent bottler, which is not a long time in whiskey terms, understandably. But to give you an idea, that's the same sort of time as Signatory Vintage.
Yeah.
So we've been around for a wee while now. So
it's a long time in business. 30 years is a long time in business.
It is. It really is. Sticking by that same sort of ethos that we still live by today, as cliche as it might sound, and also not changing the labels for 30 years.
No rebranding here.
No, what's the point now? We've been doing it for there's no point now.
Exactly. Yeah, you use the money elsewhere. Yeah.
Well, it is that. A label says a lot, but if you're getting the job done with that, why change it? Yeah.
I think it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, well, it just tells you. The only thing is that you have, and it's probably the marketing guys will tell you it's part of their plan is to read it. You have to pick it up, and I can't remember what the stat is, but as a retailer, we're told if you get something in the hand, that's like X amount of % of the sale done. So very well done on that. Well,
I would like to tell you that that's a complete marketing thing, but I think Jenny would laugh. I'm certainly laughing because it's a marketing nightmare as far as I'm concerned. I mean, imagine you going into a bar and you're going, right, I know that's a bottle of Adelphi because the label's so small, but they're usually on the top shelf and the bartender gets pretty much in a half if they've got to go and get it. So, but yeah, no, I don't think we'll change now.
No, it is the same, but.
I suppose that's another thing. If the barman's got to go and get it because you can't see what it says, you then feel obliged to buy one because he's had to get the ladder out to go and get it to come down.
If I was the barman, I'd make sure I brought them all down. So he goes, "Well, we have to buy one of each now." But yeah, and you haven't rebranded. You haven't, and there is a little part of me thinks sometimes when a brand refreshes, they've maybe gone a wee bit stale, and they need to rejuvenate. And if you can continue that momentum, that you don't need to rebrand, you don't need to introduce anything different. The difference is the liquid, I guess, and that's where the refreshment comes in. But yeah, that's just me. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we're just Adelphi will just continue to do its thing. We're quite happy. We'll in any given year, a good year for us would be 100 casks. So that's that's very small.
Yeah,
and that would be global as well. Because you do market exclusives as well, don't you?
We do market exclusives. Well, it's at the stage now. I mean, Ardnamurchan is in 37, possibly 38, I think. Yeah, 30. I should know that, given the fact that I'm sales. 37 markets around the world. Obviously, since Ardnamurchan's come on board, we simply cannot, continue with Adelphi. So we don't supply Adelphi to any new export markets now. You just simply can't. I mean, the numbers don't work. I mean, Graeme's got a great line. We're just failed mathematicians. We literally, one cask can only go so far, and yeah, that's simply why we don't until the day Adelphi can grow. And do we want it to grow? I don't know. But until that day, it will be small numbers. Unfortunately, you guys know. You guys get allocations in the UK, and you know how bad they are.
It's a frustration, but it's a privilege at the same time. And I know I got my foot in the door literally when you guys were closing up kind of UK retailers, and I was lucky enough to be there. And I knew that when that reply, I think it was yourself, that reply said, "Yeah, we're not going to take many more, if any." And I knew then the allocation was going to be very, very small. And it is sometimes it's 1 bottle, 2 bottles per release, but it's a privilege to get. I know every retailer in the land would be, they're screaming for a constant stream of Adelphi single casks, but and I guess that also makes it that little bit more
frustrating.
No, what's the word? Sought after.
I suppose.
People know that if they don't buy now, they're not going to get a chance to buy it. So it helps on that kind of that clicking that button to make sure they get it when they can. So.
Yeah, I would totally agree. If I did ever see one on the shelf that's in my price range, and you think, I've got to get one of those because it's going to be good liquid. So
yeah, we've Alex sort of continued from Jamie Walker back in the 90s, and since 2004, I think Alex took over. He's very much adopted the same style, and I think people now have interested in the name, certainly, and they look at that name and go, well, I've never had we've just put a Glenglasset out, for example, fantastic distillery up your neck of the woods. And you don't see an awful lot of it these days on the market. I was delighted to be able to release it. First fill peated bourbon barrel, and some people might go, well, I've never tried a Glenglasset, but I've had a few Adelphis, and I trust the bottlers. So I think there's a lot maybe to be said for that as well.
Yeah, we had Kenny MacDonald from Dram in the shop on Saturday doing a tasting, and he was saying exactly that. And it's on the privilege of an indie bottler being allowed to use casks that maybe A, other indies aren't allowed to, or B, you can't get any more. But having that, people will buy that bottle, and if they don't like it, it's not Glenglasset gets to blame, it's Adelphi or Dramore. And it's, I've had that, I had a bad Dramore. Not that you ever would, Kenny, if you're watching, don't believe that. But, it's the Dramore or the Adelphi or the Gordon McPhail or whatever indie bottler it is. That's the name of the label. People kind of think of the distillery second. So I think it gives you guys that incentive to make sure it's quality first and foremost. If it's not quality, it doesn't get bottled. Because it's your name. And then the distillery say, Adelphi bottled a pretty crap whatever it is. We're not going to give them more casks or
Sure. So. It swings around a bit. So I think, each to their own. We simply, again, it boils down to flavour and always has done. And we simply won't change that. So regardless if it's 3 or 33 years old, if it gets the seal of approval and the ticks in the boxes, then it will go in.
Cool. Well, just have a wee look through the chat. We've got a few people in tonight. So we've got some people in from Michael from Jersey. Felix is on with us tonight. Matthew's unfortunately going to have to start shift. That's a bit of a bummer, Matthew. Sorry to hear that. You won't be having a dram either if you're away to start. And Rick from San Francisco just waited till after noon before he poured his first dram. So he's in amongst that. There's a couple of questions there as well, but just before we get into them, just for the guys who maybe don't know so much about you, Connal, do you want to just maybe explain a little bit about yourself and how you got into the industry?
Yeah, sure. So I sort of, I've always had a passion and an interest for whiskey, sort of mid-20s, I suppose. but it's been part of my life growing up. I mean, it's my old man's drink. It's my mother's, drink of choice. And my uncles and aunties. We're a whiskey family. I think you either are or you're not, right? So growing up in Scotland, Dad started on teachers and finally upgraded himself to malts at some stage. And not that I'm bagging blends. I love blends, but he upgraded himself. And I suppose my background is mainly hotels, food and beverage primarily. I've had the privilege of working sort of around the world in that trade. Sort of ended up in New Zealand in food and beverage, to which I met a gentleman called Michael Fraser Milne. He's actually from Inverurie Way, or not. He's not far from Glendronach actually.
Okay. So Forg, Northern Norman,
Forg, yeah, Forg. He's from Forg. Yeah, that's exactly where he's from. And he runs a business out in Christchurch called Whisky Galore, which is the biggest whiskey specialist. But they're importers, they're wholesalers, they're educators. They run Dramfest, which is the biggest whiskey festival in the Southern Hemisphere, hands down, and the best. They do that every 2 years. They have a huge retail shop. They're just whiskey. It's just whiskey. So I sort of ended up being approached, and it was a total step in another direction for me. But I was delighted to take it, and I've never looked back. And that was sort of 8 years ago now. So I actually went all the way to New Zealand to get into the whiskey industry. So yeah, basically.
That sounds like a Scotsman for you, doesn't it?
It really is, isn't it? It's so ridiculous. But yeah, I worked there as sort of their operations manager. Learned a lot from the team there. Michael is a wealth of knowledge. He's been doing it for a long time. And Stephen, who works in that shop, they're just encyclopedias. So yeah, sort of cut my teeth working there. Wife and I had a wee girl. She was born in Christchurch. 18 months into that, started getting homesick, as you do. I mean, I've been away for 7 years at this point, 6 years. So I had no intention of coming back to Scotland, if I'm honest. But, kids change things, and decided that enough was enough. All our family are in the Highlands. I live in Nairn, just outside Inverness. So we just made the decision to come back to Scotland, and without a job, I might say. And it was a huge step, but the right one. I basically landed back in May in 2018 and went to the Speyside Festival, went to the Campbellton Malts Festival, went to that Feshiel, just for networking purposes, and to shake some hands and say, hey, I know if any decent jobs going. And yeah, to be fair, I was very fortunate. There was a few opportunities that were available at the time. But it wasn't until I had a round of golf with Alex Bruce in Arasaig that things changed, and I joined Adelphi there and then, essentially, and Ardnamurchan, and that's it. That's simply I've been there. I've been here since, so it's been a wonderful time.
Was there a wee hip flask in the golf bag on the round?
No, there wasn't. I tell you what, though, it was typical West Coast weather. It was so wet. You couldn't even grip the golf club. But I managed to beat him. I don't know if that was if I was supposed to do. I don't know if I was supposed to do that, but it didn't seem to bother him. He offered me the job anyway, so it was good.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for that. So everyone at home, you have no excuse. Not that you would have needed any reason not to know who Connal is, but that is Connal in a nutshell, I suppose.
That's
excellent. and so we normally wait until let's jump into the questions from the guys, actually, because we've got a few coming in. The first one, I think you've been doing a little bit of traveling recently. So Ian, who's on YouTube, did Connal get any inspirational ideas for cask maturation on your recent travels?
That's a very good question. Yes, yeah. So I got home last Wednesday. I was literally a calendar month away. I went to Japan, New Zealand, and Australia, and one one of the trips I was on was we went up to Chichibu Distillery, went for the festival as well, the
Fabulous.
Matsuri, which was a fantastic experience. The first time I've ever been to Japan, so for me it was a complete bucket list moment. And yeah, there might have been a traditional type of oak I was looking at when I was over there. Let's just say that.
Yes.
And an expensive, quite leaky from what I believe.
Yes.
Type
One
of
for
oak.
finishing rather than maturation.
Aye, so I'm in two minds. I've actually almost been put off by the fact, but I would love to see what it could potentially do to Ardnamurchan spirit. So yes, there's that, and in regards to other maturation types, you know, Alex really set out Ardnamurchan to be fairly very traditional on the outset. You know, he wanted to do bourbon and sherry for as long as possible, and it's only until 2019 maybe we started to experiment with a few different casks in small parcels. I'm not talking like going to affect the core flavor, if you like, but we've got a few different bits and pieces now maturing away or finishing away in our warehouses.
So to say the expensiveness of Japanese wood, but I'm not sure what kind of wood it was actually. But you know, Scott at Tomatin with his Kubokin experiment and the Sochu that cost a small fortune to get over. But yes,
Sochu and Mizunara. So
yeah.
it was the both that we were.
I think that what shocked Scott was that their parent company owned the cask, and they still charged him full price to get the bloody stuff over.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
It came with an invoice. What's his invoice for? Well, you've got to pay.
Yeah, no, it's not cheap. It is really not cheap.
No.
You know, cask prices are going up, as everyone knows, but yeah, that's a different level.
Has that been a kind of steady kind of rise, or you found that's been a kind of fairly kind of?
The last 3 years, certainly this year, it's taken a massive step up, and then so is everything. You know, barley, raw materials, obviously energy. Everyone knows about energy, but you know, we're in the process of putting. I think it's 150. It might be less, it might be more solar panels on our warehouse. Even believe it or not, even out in the sunny west coast, we'll get the benefit from it enough to certainly cover the costs within the next 2 to 3 years. So as well,
I remember 3 days out of my week the last time, so that wasn't a bad week. So
it does get quite warm out there. It's weird. And for maturation purposes, it's great. You know, it's a really ambient temperature throughout the year.
You've never been to Ardnamurchan yet, have you, Mike?
I haven't been that far over, no.
You absolutely have to go in. Hey, guys, anybody listening, if you've never ever been, it is a wee bit of a drive, but it is absolutely worth it. It's one of the best places in Scotland. Absolutely.
I've been all around it. I've done a lot of hill walking out that direction, but never quite as onto the peninsula there. So, but yeah, it's on my bucket list. We'll see.
You just need to let us know when you're fancying a trip. It's as Russell says, it's a bit of a mission, but you know, a lot of best places are. That's what I say.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think the nice thing we were at King Craig. King Craig's on so it was on the north. Is it King Craig? Is that right?
King Craig.
King Craig.
As in King Craig in Speyside?
No. So not King Craig then. Kilcraig.
Kilcam?
Aye. So it's on the north. It's on the north side. So it's just right across the water from Rom and Egg. No. It's an old church. It was an old church we were staying in. And there was things that was so far out of the way.
Kilmorey.
Kilmorey, that's the one.
Yes.
Kilmorey, that's the one. So with no internet, with no TV, we just had books and the sunset and whiskey and rum out the window. It was an old church that had been made into this just kind of one room kind of cottage. So the windows were huge. You can imagine church-sized windows, and just that view, just looking across the Rum and Egg every day. And with 3 days of absolute clarity, we could just right across to the Uists. Just beautiful. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a special place, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like to bang on about it too much because, you know, you want to keep it for yourself. But I mean, it's going to be discovered. It's almost like Ardnamurchan's just becoming to be discovered, because it's one road in, one road out. You know, it is a single track road. but the beach is there. I mean, Sana Beach, you know, down at Swordall, there's a beach there where you can't get to by road. It's actually a 3-mile walk in. It's called Singing Sands.
Yeah, I've been
It's
there.
probably one of the best beaches in Scotland.
Yeah.
You can't really access it unless you've got the key to the gate, which I may or may not have. But it really is quite a fantastic place.
So the
Incredible scenery, incredible, you know, animals, you know, and if you like your wildlife, you'll never see as many eagles, sea eagles, golden eagles, you know, it's quite incredible.
I mean, a wee pleasant discovery again. I mean, back into the kind of finding there was still a bottle left in that box. But you know the little before set that you released right at the start?
Yes, yeah.
So I took that with me the first time we went to Ardnamurchan and we walked up to the Singing Sands. And I thought I drank all my samples on the beach because I came home from there pretty pissed, to be fair. But I discovered fairly recently that I still had 2 of them, so I'd obviously got pretty canned on just the 2 of them. so I still have 2. I want to drink, but I'm not sure about drinking. And you know, but yeah, Singing Sands is beautiful as well, but a bit of a walk.
It is a bit of a walk, but I think it's worth it when you get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a reason why he's very famous now, more for dancing than photography and videography. But Hamza Yassin from he's a Kilhoan local. He lives on Ardnamurchan, so there's a reason why, you know, people who, you know, photograph birds or wildlife live out that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Talking of dancing, we've got Rick who's asked the question. So
you need to qualify that. You can't just say talking of dancing. We've got Rick.
Well, the dancing man, the blend, the Adelphi blend with
is he so okay? Yeah, okay.
William Gladstone on the
Plus
label, dancing over his.
Plus Rick's an accomplished dancer, of course.
Sorry,
I said plus Rick's an accomplished dancer.
Oh yeah, of course he is. Yeah, so Rick is a former professional ballroom dancer amongst many other talents. So Rick was on our Highland Whisky Academy 2 weeks ago now, over from San Francisco. Spent some time in Isla while he was here and did a little bit of traveling. But he's asking from a blending perspective, how difficult is it becoming to obtain those casks that you need, special casks from other distilleries?
Blending from are we referring to Adelphi here? I suppose is that what
I imagine.
Adelphi blend. Yeah, I mean
So I mean the Adelphi blend is something that we it wasn't us. It was Charlie McLean actually back in 1992. I want to say, with Jamie Walker, essentially went to a very famous blending house, which I won't name, but basically wrote the recipe for what is the private Adelphi's private stock, and that recipe is written in pretty much for I don't know how many years we've got, but it's pretty much there for as long as we need to use it for. We don't blend it, but we did choose the recipe. So in regards to what's in there, I'm led to believe it's about 42% malt, which is quite high for a blend, for a Scotch whisky blend.
Certainly a blend at that price as well.
Yeah, and at that price. Again, as with everything, better or bad news, it's probably going to increase. Not by much, but it is going to have to increase, unfortunately. And it's like a walk around Scotland in a bottle, is the way I describe it. It's got a little bit of everything there, right down to the tune out west and in Speyside and in and around. But there's also, I can't go into too much detail, but we are in the middle of blending something ourselves.
Okay.
Well, in fact, we finished blending it. It's pretty much going to be a standalone product very soon. It's in bottle. I'm just waiting on the labels, and we'll be going out to a press release very soon. But I'm very excited to share that news. And you guys,
this is a full blend or a blended malt?
This
is going to be a blend.
Full blend. That's very exciting. There's so many good blends just coming out just now. It's incredible. And again, from a budget point of view, I guess we're all sort of having to penny pinch here and there. So the fact that we're getting some super blends coming out, it's actually giving us that chance to get access to some really good stuff.
Yeah, I think maybe 3 years ago, we were probably looking at maybe doing a blended malt, but we want to have a portfolio of different price points for people, and the whole point is being that we're trying to make a blend. We're trying to make the best blend possible. So, you know, in regards to malt content, I'm not going to disclose anything just yet, but I think it's going to be the highest malt content blend on the market.
Okay.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I'm yet to be proven wrong. So I'm looking for high malt content blends, and I haven't found one as high as ours yet. So yeah, we'll see.
I guess you're discrediting kind of teaspoon malts because there's no proof that they're actually teaspoon.
No, we're not using teaspoon. No.
That's very exciting. Really good.
So yeah, more news very soon. Like we're talking weeks away.
Superb.
That's very exciting.
I mean, regular viewers will know that Russell and I both love the Dancing Man, the private stock blend. It's certainly a go-to. I didn't actually pick it up on the way through. I thought of going for that 2 times. I've always got one in the house, and you know, for less than
just a question for myself then, Connal, in terms of the blend, and I've never seen it anywhere else other than the wee shop in Soonart, but the Spirit of Soonart blend, is it the same makeup as the Dancing Man?
It's pretty much the same makeup. Yeah. It might have been a slightly right turn, but not by much back then. But it's fairly similar stuff. Yeah.
That tends to be one of my Ardnamurchan holiday drams. I tend to grab a bottle and it's kind of, I just stick a straw in it basically.
I mean, how can you? I mean, obviously we want to talk about drinking responsibly and all the rest of it, but in regards to, for me, it's, you know, whiskey on the rocks, you know, on a summer's day, you know, or a highball, it works really well. Actually, on highballs, I don't know if I'm talking to the right crowd, but when I was in Japan, we really went to town on highballs, and I can confirm to you that the Ardnamurchan cask strength in a really well made highball is something pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And is it 14.5 stirs clockwise and then 14.5 stirs anti-clockwise?
You just give it a wee shugle and it'll be fine.
Shugle. We'll translate shugle for all our non-Scottish friends.
I would love to see what the subtitles come up with for that.
Shugle.
Well, it's a wee shugle. So there's a fairly different kind of measure there, because you could have a thought of a schmuggle or a shugle or a big shugle or
just a wee shugle.
A bit of a shugle, but a wee shugle. Just a wee shugle.
Just a wee shugle.
Superb.
A wee shuggle's like a Glaswegian earthquake, isn't it?
Aye.
It's a wee shugle.
It's a wee bit windy. Just on that note, before we go to a question, Mike, I know I digress, and I always do, but I was once on holiday up in the far, far, far northwest of Scotland, a place called Scowrie. Don't know if you know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So it was round about Hogmanay, and I'd got to the house. There was friends joining in. We got to the house. The first one's there, so only one's in the house, and a storm came in, and to say it was windy, the roof tiles sounded like somebody was playing a xylophone all night. It just completely. I thought the roof was going to come off the building, and I looked outside, and my car was actually bouncing on its springs, and I saw a garage door go flying across the bay. Bloody hell, right? So obviously I managed to eventually fall asleep after 2 or 3 hours of fretting about my car disappearing into the bloody Atlantic.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a local the next day and said, that was a bit of a storm last night. And she goes, aye, it was a wee bit windy, right enough. a wee bit windy.
Garage doors disappearing.
Aye.
So that's the estimation. Yeah.
Up here, it's normally trampolines.
Trampolines, they
garden hopping.
Yeah. So Glasgow's earthquake's a shugle. That's right. Yeah.
We've got Mike Pilgrim watching on Facebook. He's asking, he's drinking a Port Charlotte. Lucky you.
Yeah.
Love the peatiness of it. Ardnamurchan, as I understand, occasionally release a heavily peated expression. Can you tell me how much peat in phenols It's typically on that. And just before there's two. You had a Port Charlotte and the Ardnamurchan there, both released at the same time by. So I am kind of branded a little bit with my LBD, who did a dual release with the Ardnamurchan and Port Charlotte not that long ago, which would have been ideal of heaven, I suppose.
It was an absolute privilege to do that bottling with Drew at LBD, and you know, and the team there. You know, they're great guys. Known Drew a wee while now, massive supporter, and you know, just a friend, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you know, he's got a real connection to Ardnamurchan, been holidaying there. I mean, he named his daughter Sana. You know, there was that lovely connection there, and the wee Doug made it up. Banksy made it up to the distillery where I hosted Drew, and he saw this cask, which he knew was out of bounds. He knew it was, but we tried it anyway because we got excited in the warehouse, and I couldn't say no to him. You know, it was simply as that. There you go. Here he is. He's bloody. Of course, he's in. I'll stop saying nice things about him. But no, look,
Chris is a great guy as well, isn't he? I really like Chris.
It's Chris amazing.
He's
so effervescent, Chris. You can't stop Chris talking once he gets going. You know.
No, Chris was there too. No, he's a good guy. He's one of these guys that can just do bloody anything, can't he? He just turns his hand to anything.
Yeah.
Very jealous. But look, the two of them, and you know, they're again focusing on quality, and they released that Port Charlotte and Ardnamurchan side by side, and it was really cool to be, and it was their first time bottling 70s. We were really chuffed to be part of it, and maybe we'll see another LBG Ardnamurchan in the future. Well, I would like to see it anyway. But in regards to the question, heavily peated Ardnamurchan. We haven't released. We haven't released a heavily peated Ardnamurchan, to my knowledge. I think if the question he's referring to is the cask strength, that would be our most peated example of Ardnamurchan. So the core release is 50% peated, 50% unpeated, and the cask strength is about 95% peated. And our peating levels have been and haven't changed. They're 30 ppm. The last couple of years, however, we've done a couple of weeks of heavily peated malt, but it's not been we've not released it yet, and that's coming in at about 80 to 90 ppm. So that you will see at some stage a heavily peated Ardnamurchan, which is already looking pretty cool. I've had a wee look at the cask.
I guess people get caught up in phenols and ppm. They're probably not that indicative of how smoky or how peated the end product's going to be. There's a lot more to it than that. The kind of cut levels and this kind of stuff. So I guess what Mike was kind of told, this is the peatiest Ardnamurchan in terms of cask selection rather than. I know Stuart was watching, if he's still on. Torra Vega's peat level in terms of ppm is right up there with Ardnamurchan and Ardbeg and Lagavulin and these kind of guys, but to taste it, it's way down. It's all to do with the kind of cut in that. I think people tend to get caught up in ppm rather than trying to spit it from themselves and maybe seeing what happens.
Our approach, and for as long as we were all there, will be balance and integration is what we're looking for. But balance is key. Is what we're always looking for. So we want everything to be in harmony, if you like, in a perfect world. That's what we're looking for when we're blending Ardnamurchan single malt.
Awesome. Good.
Sorry if I didn't answer your question. I tried my best.
Well, I think he asked what the ppm was, and you said 30 ppm. So, any more questions, Mike? Feel free to throw them in the chat. Alistair, I think this is going back on your round of golf. Any jobs going now?
There might be something in the near future. I'm finding myself and the team are finding ourselves pretty busy. I mean, I've got Graeme's in the Netherlands. Jenny's just back from Switzerland, and I got back from Australia last week. So we're all over the place just now. So there might be something in the near future.
There you go, Alistair.
Keep an eye, guys. Absolutely. I like cats coming to the windy one. You know, you know it's windy when your dog falls over taking a pee against the gate. Hashtag West Coast. Yeah, it doesn't get much wind in the West Coast actually. When it's windy over there.
Oh,
sure.
it's a different level of wind. Yeah, absolutely. Although I would absolutely, as bad as it sounds, I'd actually quite like to see that happening.
YouTube, I'm sure there's something on YouTube.
Oh, there must be, but you just don't want to type it in, do you? You know, dog getting blown over by wind whilst having pee. You know, come on. Did I see Juliette Buchan is in the house as well?
She is, yeah. Juliette the regular.
Yeah,
she's on the cast strength just now.
I haven't seen Juliette in a long time. I think I'll be in Switzerland with her next week, so that'll be great.
Excellent. I'm going to stick my neck out and say she's on the cast strength Ardnamurchan. I would hope. She just put
Yes, yeah. We'll go that, yeah. Yeah. Not the batch 9 of some other distillery. I can't remember what it's called again. Yeah, Glen.
I've got
Can't remember.
Some Rocky Valley or something like that. I can't remember.
If they were any good, we would have heard about them by now. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Surely we would have heard. Yeah.
Yeah, all visits to Glen Alki have now been cancelled.
So a couple of interesting questions actually. Hamish, I'm not sure. Hamish Malcolm's also talking of dancing. Is there a Thompson Brothers Adelphi bottling with a variation on the Dancing Man logo?
Hamish, an Invernessian man. I know him. Yes. Yeah. The answer is I'm not sure. I hope not. I don't know if you know. I've actually got one here. I'll show you what he's referring to.
Because Hamish is the Scotsman who's almost home from the pub, isn't it?
Obviously we would be incredibly hypocritical if Ardnamurchan didn't sell to indies. You know, that's how we began our journey. So of course we were going to. And you know, one of the first indies that we sold to was the Thompson brothers up in Dornoch, who, you know, great friends of the team there. Phil and Simon are good friends of mine and on the team, and we like to make it a collaboration. So, you know, they pick the casks, they come up for a visit, etc., etc. So anyway, I was just sort of asking, you know, have you got artwork for your cask labels? You know, has the artwork come through yet? And stalling, and they were stalling, and they were stalling, and they were like, right, we got one artwork through, so they sent it through. And I was like, yeah, just cool. And it wasn't to check it, it was just to sort of, you know, I was curious. So anyway, on the day of bottling, Phil FaceTimed me, and this is what he showed me.
I have seen, yeah.
Oh, recognize that guy.
He decided to make me into the dancing man, which I was absolutely mortified at. But I suppose everyone kept telling me it's an honour to be on a Thompson bottling, so I'll take it. I'll take it as a compliment.
We were talking to you and last week. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah. He's a great guy.
So yes. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic chat and absolutely brilliant stuff that they're doing up there as well. There seems to be that whole... I mean, you're from Allness, aren't you, originally? Is that it? You're an Allness boy?
Me?
Yeah.
I thought you and I got on, Russell, but clearly we don't get on. I can't believe you've just said that to me.
It's all right. I'll kick him out. There we go.
Thank you. Honestly, I can't believe you just said that. No, I'm from just outside Inverness, the sleepy suburb of Culloden, is where I'm from.
Oh, right. So who's the Allness lads? And there's a few, isn't there? There's
Allness. Graeme's from Inverness.
Scott's from Allness, isn't he?
Scott from Tomatin. He's up in Allness.
Is it just him then? Is it? I thought there was 2 or 3 guys were from Allness. But yeah, so anyway, I include myself in that area. Ross-shire, Scatwell, Strathconnell, we're all the same. But there's so much going on in that part of the world. Don't you put me in the same context as all.
Russell, stop digging. Jesus.
I could have said you were from Eventon, for Christ's sake. I didn't.
Hey, listen, Eventon's all right. Nah, I'm only winding you up. No, I'm not from Honest.
I don't think the crowd are ready for the first virtual punch-up we've ever had in a Blether.
The first Ross-Shire feud. Right?
Never
For
say never.
For all our foreign visitors, right? There's a proper divide here between Dornoch, Tain, Ederton, Strathconnell, Scatwell, Little Scatwell.
So Kat, who I'm not sure if you met Kat Connal, she works with us at the shop.
Okay.
She's watching. She's got the auto-generated captions have turned Inverness into Venice.
Venice, wow.
They're practically twinned.
Is that what it's saying? Venice.
Yeah.
Superb.
Everyone's thinking that's definitely not a Venetian accent you've got there.
Right enough, no bad yourself.
Absolutely. Having said that, apparently Oloroso comes up as Ola Russell.
Ola Russell, yeah.
Ola Russell, yeah.
Ola Russell. Which is what I always say. I bought the sherry always says to me when I open one. So.
I'm really enjoying sherry just now, actually. That's one of my go-tos.
Yeah. It's something I want to get more into when time allows. It's just I really enjoy it, but I want to get more into the production of it and the all the different bodegas and the kind of styles.
That Palo Cortado we had, how old was
30 year old.
20
year old, yeah.
That we had in the sherry dinner during the Highland Junior Academy. Oh my God, it was off the scale tasty.
Yeah, I'm more Fino and Manzanilla and that's the drier sort of stuff.
Yeah, Fino Friday.
I know, to be honest, Hamish is spot on, actually.
Listen, Alness was actually once the most picturesque town in Scotland.
What happened to it?
They won the flowers. Did not win the flower thing year after year.
Was that before or after the nuclear bomb?
Okay, I'm sorry, right? For fuck's sake. I'll come up and make your tea for the next 5 weeks.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Just a pint, an apologetic pint will do. Thank you.
I will buy you an apologetic pint.
You've started something. Harry Gow's stuff is a million times better than Greg's. I guess it's probably true, though.
No, you're right, though. Harry Gow's is pretty good, actually, to be fair.
It is.
I'll tell you what, guys. I've opened this stallion from the Woodwinters, and that is. I've just opened that. That's my Christmas. Yeah, we're pretty much inverted bottles here. But yeah, that's wow. I'm a big Dallion fan anyway.
Yeah,
I love the 16-year-old. I love that kind of meatiness of the whiskey. It works. This is probably, I'm assuming, a sherry cask.
Yeah, it's first of all Oloroso.
Yeah, the most sherried one I've had.
Yeah, it's fairly full on, but I think as you say, the robustness of that Dallion spirit can take it pretty well. For me, it's Ben Rinnes, Dallion, Mortlach. They're that stereotypical meaty, savoury, umami style space ciders that can really handle an aggressive cask. And Dallion's a lot easier to get than bloody Mortlach these days. So it's I rate the spirit highly, as I do Ben Rinnes. So it's good.
Could you get like it would work? Could you there was a question back now. Where are we now? It was about
While you're looking, I'm just going to say cheerio to Mike. Mike's going to head off, but he says, "Thank you, Connal. Interesting listening to you. Congratulations, Killian. Thank you very much, and best wishes to Russell in the new venture." So we're all getting a wee mention there. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Hopefully, we'll see you on Saturday if you pop in.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian Bruce, going back to the kind of leaky cask kind of situation with some of the Japanese stuff. So I'm not sure what he's on about here, but a cask in a cask or other wooden
cask in a cask. That was the chat with Scott Adamson when you weren't well, you couldn't come in. So the conversation was, has there been you fill a cask, and so we're talking about oak and why oak is, strictly Scottish whiskey is only in oak, and other countries get to use other. And Ian came up with the idea of kind of putting panels or staves of other wood around an oak cask to get the influence of that through a wood at work. And then we said, well, why don't we just put an oak cask, maybe a ASB, into a sherry or a butt or a butt made of different oak? Where would that tie in?
So build a cask around a cask.
Yeah, effectively. But the outer cask isn't oak. The outer cask could be cherry wood or something.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah.
I suppose that's a great question. I wonder if anyone's actually done it. Would it affect it? I mean, obviously the spirit would be influenced by the first wood type, but then obviously the maturation, the breathing of the cask would take something back in from the secondary wood type. So, I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. It's a good question. Maybe we should try it.
It's something that, in Scott was the same. He'd never heard of it being done, and it's maybe been tried, and the result. I guess it's kind of a step up from the guys who they get to an age of a cask and then they wrap it in kind of the polythene or something to stop it. Yeah. But just to stop it gets to that 30 years or 40 years or 50 years landmark, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally in Sydney a couple of weeks ago at Archie Rose Distillery. Incredible place. Really is quite it's an incredible. It's just an incredible distillery what they're doing there. They're making 7 different types of spirit, 7 different types of washbacks, tanks, pipes, you name it. They built it from scratch to house all these different styles of spirit. And I was going through with a chap called Ashok, who is the head distiller, master distiller, and I think marketing and sales director as well. He likes to get on the road for Amrut Distillery in India, and he was telling me about his maturations. 5 years and you've got to get rid of it, kind of thing. That's it. It's not going to get any better, and the angel share is like 15% or something. So. I used to know there was a chap in Inverness actually, who's based in Inverness. He was developing this contraption that would go over each end of the cask. It wasn't wrapping the cask, because you wrap the cask, you're essentially spoiling the maturation. You're spoiling the air getting in and out. You're
stopping it breathing, aren't you?
Cask can't breathe, right? So what the argument was is they wanted to test these. It was almost like a flat cap, essentially, on each side of the cask. And they tested it at some pretty big warehouses and pretty big names. And they found that it did not affect maturation in regards to flavour or alcohol, but maturation, but it did save an angel share.
Okay.
So I don't know how far on he got with that, but I think that might be developed, especially for hotter climates.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's interesting.
Who knows?
I guess there's always going to be techniques tried and tested with the public eye and if they don't work, we never hear about them. If they do work, then it's revolutionary.
Yeah, I think it's the climate's so important. People talk about maturation and climate and disregard it. Well, that's silly because. Just the heat and humidity alone makes a massive change to what you're doing. So I think that's why I think the west coast of Scotland in general is great, but the west coast of Scotland's got a really good ambient temperature for maturation. All you need to do is look at the distilleries on the west coast, to figure that one out.
Yeah. Would you categorise? We talk about this every so often as well, but the regions. If you had the chance to recategorize the regions in Scotland, would you do that, or would you stick to the traditional 5? He's taking a long time to think about this one.
He is. It's a very thoughtful pose. He's back.
He's back. Here we go. Did you give us an answer? Didn't that we pause, or did you not hear me?
Would I have a chance to recategorize? Is that what you were saying? The regions?
Yeah. So we have the 5 traditional regions, the Highland, Speyside, Campbellton, and the like. Would you like to see Highland split up a little bit more, or are you happy with what they are now?
I'm indifferent. I understand why the regions were there, but I mean, everyone can produce the style of whiskey they want to produce these days. I don't think it's necessarily true. You know, you can produce peated whiskey anywhere in Scotland. You can, but I do think the west coast of Scotland is more of it's a place rather than a region. You know, I think. But yeah, I'm indifferent to that question. Sorry, that's a bit of a boring answer, but I don't have any strong feelings for or against.
Yeah.
Regionality, it's a thing that comes up every now and again, and sometimes people ask you to do a tasting based on regionality, and it's interesting to talk about historically, but from a spirit point of view, it's kind of more or less irrelevant now, really. To be honest,
You feel yourself getting drawn to classic styles.
From a tourist point of view, it's still interesting to kind of describe the whole industry and how things kind of panned out, I suppose. But
yeah, I see the reason why we still have it. I get it, but I'm indifferent about it.
Awesome. We've got Jesperson 8. Which distillery would be the best match if Ardnamurchan would want to do another blended malt, considering the Kilcard as the first, with the Scotch distillery, in your opinion?
I know who that is. That's Jesper in Denmark. And that would be a Jesper question, of course. Well, funnily enough, we have done something similar-ish with Dornoch. I don't know if you guys know this, but we did something called blended at birth, which is essentially taking the same field of barley, cutting it in half, running it through our distillery, and then blending the new make spirit, and then putting it into casks and aging some in Dornoch, aging some in Ardnamurchan, and just basically seeing what happens. That's probably coming up for 2 years old now. So we'll see. There's some in bourbon, there's some in casks, there's some in sherry casks, some in octaves as well for a wee bit more speedy maturation. Who would I like to blend with to do another Kilhard? Well, Kilhard was obviously Kilholman and Ardnamurchan. I would like to see a Kilhard 2.0, and maybe a Kilhard with a vengeance.
Kilharder.
Kilharder, yeah. But that story, honestly, I was armed. It was the London Whisky Show, and I basically just wanted to get some Kilholman for Adelphi, and Anthony was just having absolutely none of it. Even though I kept ordering bottles of red wine, it didn't make a difference. We went out for tea before the London show, went out for a steak and stuff, and basically no chance. But he didn't say no to a collaboration between us. So that's how Kilhard was born, Kilholman, Ardnamurchan, Kilhard. And then, obviously Alex Bruce, Anthony Wills, Bruce Wills, Kilhard. You see where we're going. There was a lot of wine. There was a lot of wine, Russell. I'm
just worried about the dementia aspect for poor old Bruce.
So exactly. Yeah, I heard that as well. But I would like to blend with. I would love to blend with other distilleries, but to do another West Coast style. I mean, I would love to. I'd really quite like to blend with Arran. I would quite like to blend. I would like to blend with Springbank because I think that'd be really fun. I don't know, blend with another Isla, but it's just it's funny because I mean it's blending with Kilholman. That was the first time that two distilleries, without any business gain or venture, just blended for a bit of crack and friendship. And I think that's quite rare, these days in business. And I think that's still what whiskey's all about. And I think I would love to approach another distillery to do a similar style of blend. It was a lot of fun, and it was it was great.
Rossi would be a good one.
Rossi, I mean, I have no idea how our spirits would play together, but two West Coast styles, absolutely.
Seard.
Seard.
Say Ard. When I say Ardnamurchan, say Ard.
Or Rard.
Rard, yeah. I have no idea.
Oh.
So Juliet's asking if because you did a great one with High Coast in Sweden. She's wondering if you're blending with other New World whiskies.
Yeah, so that's something that we did back in we started in 2015, 2016. Alex decided to blend, blend the Glover, named after Thomas Blake Glover, up your way again. The Glover was born. I'm about to put batch 6 together, which will be released in about 2 to 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be a 2014 barrel of Ardnamurchan, all going well, and a 2014 barrel of Chichibu, blended together. So yeah, fusion whiskey is what it's called, and we blended with the Netherlands, Sweden. Juliet's right, with High Coast. The Netherlands was Zidam Distillery, Amrut Distillery in India, Starward Distillery in Australia, and I've just come back from blending one in New Zealand. So you're going to see an Ardnamurchan and Cardrona Distillery.
Oh, nice, brilliant.
Fusion blend. So that's done. Like, the recipe's been written. We blended it on site about 3 weeks ago in New Zealand at Cardrona Distillery. So there's 4 casks, 2 from Ardnamurchan, 2 from Cardrona, and that will be released probably in the UK by Christmas.
You just beat Felix to it. He must have just pressed enter on his keyboard. How about Cardrona?
Yeah.
Ardnamurchan.
Lord Snap.
Yeah,
there's a lot of love for this. People have stopped. Yeah. This is oofed. Lol. Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun to do. We selected the casks on the day. We shipped cask samples out to New Zealand. We shipped, a variety of different casks because we knew it would take a wee while. But yeah, I think we'll get about 1,500 bottles out of it, give or take. And yeah, I'm very excited. It was kind of something I really wanted to do. I've obviously got ties to New Zealand, so for me it was a real big tick. In regards to others, there will be other fusion projects. Something that I'm working on, always in the background. So there'll be something more with Japanese. There's something potentially with Germany, America, the US, and yeah, we'll see how we go.
It's a pretty unique project. I'm trying to think. Does anybody else actually do this?
No one else. Not the extent that we do. I don't think. Alex was the first one to sort of legally blend it. I say legally because there's a lot going on out there, but no, he was the first to shout out about it and say exactly what was in that bottle. So I mean, the first Glover was Hanyu, which is obviously extremely rare, Japanese closed distillery. Longmorn and Glengarry. So and it's sort of gone from there.
Yeah.
So really, it's just a really cool project to be part of. I mean, the first blend I was part of was the Winter Queen 2, which was a 19-year-old. It was a 19-year-old Zidam, Bowmore, Mortlick, and Teenanich in that blend. So it was really a lot of fun to do.
And it really does open so many doors, doesn't it? That and a lot of people, and I for one have been guilty of it, saying how restrictive and how tight the SWA rules are. But if you think outside the box, there's so much scope for playing within those rules.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I think when we were getting blessing from the SWA, I think Alex got to know the waiting room and the coffee machine there quite well. Making sure that we because we didn't want to go against anything that SWA were, I've set out. We're protected for a reason, as a drink, but we wanted to, see what we could do, and it was simple as doing a blended malt and taking it down to Englandshire to blend it and taking it back up and sending it on its way.
And very well received. Very well received. There's loads and loads and loads of suggestions. How about an Ardbeg fusion and call it Ardbeg? I
would confuse people totally. Put Beg Ard.
Beg-Ard. Yeah. Wellard. You also have one Wellard for what was the dog in EastEnders, wasn't it? How about a fusion with Lucknow distillery called Ardluck?
Where's Lucknow?
India.
Ah, well, there you go.
I have no idea if it's a decent distillery, if it's one of these.
Molasses based.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah,
I like cats with Arce with Rasse.
Arce, yeah. Or
Arce.
Juliet made it more polite with a Ard to say.
Arce.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Ardnamurchan is hard to say. Let's be honest.
Yeah. If you took Arce out, I'm wondering what the tasting notes would be.
But you know what, Ardnamurchan is actually one of the easiest ones, actually, given some of the newer ones. So you've got like a Port
Portnatruin.
spelt Portentruin.
Yeah.
Or was it the other way around?
The other way around.
Machrahanish.
Yeah. Dalriada.
What's the new one in Inverness?
Ulavisht.
Ulavish. There you go.
But it's called the Monster now, I think is the easiest way of. But well, Jesper's come back. I think it was Jesper's fault that we went down this rabbit hole.
Thanks, Jesper. Cheers.
Cheers. And Ardnamurchan would be interesting to see. Yeah, because you guys are kind of right on that peninsula. Was there a couple of valleys between you? You and
as the crow flies.
Tons of fuel, like.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to roll the casks up and down over the hills. Like
a couple of tanks of fuel and several springs in your cars.
You'd be quicker swimming there.
You would be.
About an hour and a half.
You could ferry out to Mull and then ferry back, I suppose.
Yeah.
Would that work?
You could go ferry out to Mull and then, but arguably just row your boat gently down the stream.
You would be quicker. Mike's going to swim it. He's going to swim the Corrie Vrecken with Nick Ravenhall this year, I believe.
Not this year. No, we've discussed it. Not this year. Next year. I'm going to visit them this year while they do it. I'll watch and I'll realise what I'm getting myself in for. But next year,
that'll be pretty intense.
Yeah. I was a pretty good swimmer back in the day. There was two things I picked up on what you've said already, Connal, by saying that you mentioned back in the day. Back in the day to me is when I was a wee lad. You mentioned back in the day being about 2013 or something like that. That scared me. And you also mentioned 30 years ago being in the early 90s. That horrified me. 30 years ago was 1990s. It's like, what is going on?
1993, that's it. We're not getting any younger. That's for
30
sure.
years ago. That's crazy. I mean, I look at old whiskey.
You two wee boys.
But Russell, you're used to old whiskey coming from the 70s, 80s, 90s. I look at a bottle and say it's 40 years old. That's amazing. It's like, no, it's the decade I was born in. Yeah, it's scary stuff now. It's scary. Anyway, I went off on a tangent there. Just, I guess father and age creeping up on me a wee bit there.
You're reflecting.
You've got the dad brains creeping in.
Yeah.
So you do. Are you still doing the kind of walks and all these things for the fundraising?
I mean, you say it like we're athletes at Ardnamurchan, which is you couldn't be further from the truth.
That was a fairly serious undertaking you guys took, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh look, I'm not going to play it down. It was bloody awful, but very rewarding at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, I look back on it and thinking, what on earth was I thinking? But we had two new starts in the team, Graeme and Jenny, and we were in the middle of this awful situation. Everyone was, lockdown this, lockdown that. Who knows where we're going? What's happening? And we were trying to, get a brand out there. And I just thought, well, look, let's go and do something a bit ambitious. And we decided that the route would be from our warehouse in Fife, so where Adelphi HQ is, and walk to Ardnamurchan from there. Not in a straight line, but up and down and round, and I think it was 205 miles. And a few hills later, it took us 10 nights to complete, and we raised just under £30,000 for the Ben.
Absolutely fabulous.
And well, I can tell you, it could have gone completely wrong, but we're now actually, as a team goes, we're extremely close and very tight. And if you go through, I'm not going to say life-changing experience, but it was a fairly full-on experience to do. It was a good way to solidify the team. Let's put it that way.
People underestimate walking and outdoor activity in Scotland, though. Some of these ventures, 200 odd miles, is a long, long, long way to travel in any kind of form of transport in Scotland. The Americans think about 200 miles as just a journey to the shops because it's long, straight roads and it's in a car and stuff. But 200 miles of Scotland's it's not an easy journey.
It was it was incredible, and like the first 2 days it was a bit wet. I remember walking through Ben Nevis is in sight, and it was 34 degrees, and I've never felt that kind of heat in Scotland before.
Yeah.
Far less walking with a 25 kilo backpack on your back. That was pretty intense. So it was. Yeah, I think. And to get to see parts of Scotland that I'll probably, I certainly have never seen before. I mean, we all know it's a beautiful country, right? But I mean, when you see it from the back roads, if you like, or from no roads, it's quite special. It really is.
Yeah. I was a big hill walker back in my day, back in the day. Before I took on jobs that involved working every weekend and things like that. But it's just the most incredible thing to do is just ditch civilization. What's on your back is what you have. And I remember doing my kind of first proper solo walk was out to Knoydart, to the pub, the Old Forg, from the Glenfinnan Viaduct. And you do that walk. It's 26 miles, I think it is, the most remote pub in Britain, unless you take the boat from the lake. But just incredible. Me and the first Doug walking along, and absolutely, it is. You mentioned life changing there. I think
it is life changing. Yeah.
I remember getting to the pub, and I was there about 9:10, and they closed at 9. The restaurant closed at 9, and I thought as we were walking over, I was like getting close. I knew I was getting close, but the dog was starving. Paisley was starving, so I gave him the last of my food, thinking I'll get a pub meal at the restaurant. So I walked in 9:10 after pitching the tent and stuff. I was like, any chance of something to eat? And the lassie looked at me, and I walked in. I was lobstered. I was. I'll look up. I'll send you some photos of my first day. It was absolutely pissing down with rain. It was freezing cold. I was walking through bog the whole first day. The next day I woke up and it was absolutely stunning. And I didn't have any sun cream or anything with me, thinking, this is the weather forecast for the whole time. But, growing up in Scotland for 30 years, I should have known that it's going to completely change the next day. Got absolutely sunburned. So I walked in, and the lassie's like, "Oh, you've just missed tea. The restaurant's closed." And I was like, "You're kidding me." She's like, I'll see what I can do. And I'll maybe go and get you some sun cream as well. And it was
I mean, you thought there must be used. There's no way they were going to refuse you.
Yeah. So I got a great. I think they've whipped up some kind of fish food risotto or rice dish anyway. And I was just gasping for a pint of water, and I was really looking forward to a pint of cider or something. I was just like, just give me water. It's all I need. And the last was like, I'll go and get you some after sun. I was like, no, don't bother yourself. It's all right. I'll be all right. But she went home, which was next door, to get the after sun, and came back. There you go. I was just like, I was the most grateful after sun, the most grateful pint, and the most grateful food I've ever had in my life.
We had a similar one on the walk. We the people we met, the kindness of people really blew me away. But one of the ones that sticks in my head a lot is we were supposed to camp at Currar Lodge, just a Loch Ossian Loch. Anyway, we couldn't find a decent enough spot. It was just midges were everywhere. It was horrendous, and we ended up we were going to have tea, something to eat at Currar Station, and we ended up speaking to this lassie Shona, who was running the place. And she just said, "Look, pitch your tents outside, kind of thing, outside the pub. We're basically where you catch the train. And we went in for a, we're looking forward to it all day. Like a pub meal and a pint, and so we had that. And but she said, "Look, and if you want to use, the chefs use there's a really good shower out the back." And we hadn't had a shower in sort of 2-3 days at this point. So it was really, really the kindness of people. When you're out walking the hills, they really do look after you.
Yeah. It's a brilliant experience, and it does. Whether you're on your own or with a team, there's a bond there.
Yeah,
totally.
You've got a good drama at the end of it, all the better.
And as you say, the scenery, the weather, everything you got to. I don't know if you've read Hamish's Long Walk. Hamish Brown, the first guy to complete all the Munros.
I've certainly heard of the book, but I'm not.
It's a fabulous read, and it was not an easy journey at all. So he was the first guy to do it by human power. So any locks he had to cross, he canoed. He did some cycling as well for some longer kind of transitions. But he got to, I think it was Mount Keane, of all places, one of the most easiest Munros you could actually get in the just at the edge of the Cairngorm. So it's more or less in Aberdeenshire. It's the easternmost Munro, Mount Keane, just in Glentana, not far from Deeside. And I've been up there. It's not a difficult hill to get to, but there's a kind of a rocky kind of cairn with you can kind of sit down and kind of huddle from the wind. And he got to the top and he was just kind of relaxing and thinking, I've only got one or two to go. And he heard this guy on the other side going, oh, that's it, that's me finished. And he thought, shit, there's somebody else here. And he thought, shit, there's somebody finished the bloody, they've done the loop. So he was completely heartbroken. So he went around to kind of challenge this guy and say, have you just completed the whole lot? And he went, no, I'm just knackered. I'm done. That's me finished. So the whole panic. I mean, I don't know whether it was with the 70s or 80s, he did this kind of thing, but he knew he was going to be the first guy to complete it in one round trip.
Yeah, sure.
He thought somebody would beat him to it. But the guy was just knackered. I'm finished. I'm done.
Can you imagine? I reckon if he had done it, there would have been murder committed on that mountain. Like that.
Yeah, thrown into the loch. The body found in the loch.
She was.
Mike, were we talking? Am I thinking about a different kind of thing altogether? Were we not talking to somebody who spoke about a trip to where you were in Inveraray with their kids and they were camping and it became a complete and utter disaster, almost like a survival? Was that Jim Ashley or was that? Am I just completely going on to a different tangent, different conversation?
It's certainly a different conversation, but I'm not sure if I was part of it.
No, they'd kind of canoed in, or was it? It wasn't Nick, was it?
Oh, yeah. No, my pals Keenan and Chris. It was a completely different
Keenan's story. It's Keenan's story.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Yeah. But they were capsized. So Keenan has two kids, early teens, and a couple of friends were they canoed across. I can't remember where they were, but they canoed across to do the Munros, and then they were canoeing back. I think it was on the way back that they capsized and ended up getting washed down the loch. Ended up they all got to the right side of the loch that they wanted to be at, and one of the lairds came down. And normally he's religious for being a bit arsey with people on his land, but he took them in and kind of looked after them and stuff. But I think it was pretty hair raising for a wee while, but they got through all right. So yeah,
Sounds like Keenan's story in the pub. It wasn't on here. It was just when you mentioned Inveraray, I thought, who was that?
It wasn't Inveraray. I think it was further south than that.
Yeah.
But, so Connor, when you go out for a drink, and you go into a bar and there's no Ardnamurchan, God forbid. So you look for
you walk out again, surely. Yeah.
God forbid. What's the kind of typical? I know you've said you're pretty keen on experimenting and trying lots of different. Is there one particular that you would hone to, or a style? Do you prefer peated or unpeated, or
dram wise? I'm fairly fluid with that. I mean, there's no particular style. It's all about how I feel at the moment in time. Whether it's it could be something from the tune, it could be something from Speyside. It depends on the weather, how I feel. It's a difficult question. It's not a great answer, I understand, but my problem is that I seem to enjoy. I enjoy wine. I enjoy gin. I enjoy sherry. I enjoy cocktails. I enjoy a highball. Yeah, I enjoy many guises.
Alcohol and many.
So apart from insulting you entirely, we would get on really well. I know that's probably. Probably gone now.
That'll never happen. Russell. I don't want to piss on your chips, mate. But
the bridge has been burned.
yeah,
After I piss on your chips, of course. So yeah,
I'll tell you, the Keswick Bridge has now been burnt, mate. But yeah, no. Look, I've got an appreciation for it, and you know, it's something. But I mean, in dram wise, I mean, it's just endless now. We're in this golden age of, you know, getting to, well, within reason. You know, you've got, if you're in the whiskey industry, or if that's your passion, you've got the sort of pick of any style you like, really. And world whiskies, you know, really starting to move as well. And yeah, anything. But I see Juliet's written Palinka. I would opt to say that would be the one alcohol I can't handle at all.
Pisco for me. Jesus Christ, that is
Palinka is not good.
Where's Palinka from?
Hungary.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Is that like an eau de vie? Is that kind of a
that would be polite.
Okay. Woe is me rather than eau de vie.
Oh, it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. I noticed you went on to Juliet's, but you missed Alistair's comment there. I don't know if you noticed that. I'm guessing there's something underlying about this comment.
Yeah, there is, and you know, of course, Alistair's going to bring that kind of stuff up because you know
you don't have to answer. We said right to start. You don't have to answer.
Oh no, look, honestly, it's fine. I mean, on that trip, I think it was Glen Nevis Day actually. We were surprised by two people who we knew. They're part of the Hip Flask hiking club that Graeme and I are part of, and they simply walked into the Glen to meet us and cook us lunch, which was an incredible surprise. I have a few drams, but unfortunately he didn't make me. It was a kind of dare that if I dressed up as Freddie Mercury in the "I Want to Break Free" video and hike for a little bit through Glen Nevis, then a lot of the people would double my sponsors for the walk.
Well, it's good done.
So of course I did.
Yeah.
I managed a couple of miles in that, and then gave the costume back to Alistair, who's never washed it since. So he's
but worn it
in your face, Alistair.
I mean, it could have been worse. You could have been put in a green gimp suit and told to waft around a cucumber.
It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, indeed.
There is photographic evidence somewhere, but I'd rather it stayed away.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't fancy getting involved in a promo? Well, obviously, I was going to say the Little Brown Dog promo was pretty poignant and personal. So maybe the next one, you and the team can get involved in Andrew's video.
The minute Drew starts suggesting that kind of stuff, I'm out. Graeme Mackay can be all over that. That's no problem at all.
I think he got Dave at a week. I think he got Dave at a week moment.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We were talking about that, and you know, going back to Andrew and the LBD and stuff. One of the main reasons I didn't take my LBD Ardnamurchan through for tonight was because you just can't drink that without welling up. You know, the dram for Banksy, and just one of the most incredible videos ever. You know, we know the peninsula, mate. You're going to go there. You're going to see what it's all about. But everything about that area and just the whole video was just incredible.
I'm not smiling because of the sad video that Drew made.
I see that. You see that special hat lady.
Yeah, and he does, and that's all there is on that. Do you know it's a bad moment when you're on a live stream and you've got both the brothers Grimm tuning in. It's not good because I've unfortunately shared far too many drams with these boys over the years, and
we do have the private chat, Connal. You're okay. We're safe.
Aye.
Remember the safe word we spoke about in the green room?
Aye. What was the safe word again?
Can't remember.
No, cheers. That's me just on that Milton Duff was great. Actually, on that note, there's a sister cask of that Milton Duff that we've selected for our 30 years of Adelphi. So there'll be a few special releases out this year, peppered throughout the year, and maybe into maybe into the first half of next, but we'll see. But I don't want to release, too many high end stuff. It's not really what, I want to sort of spread them about a wee bit. But there is a 1982 refill American oak ex bourbon. I think it's a barrel of Milton Duff. So that's now 40 years old, single cask. It's just absolutely glorious. It's refill bourbon with that distillate for 40 years. It's just, it's one of our oldest casks we've released, certainly of modern times. And for me, it takes on that really herbaceous sort of thing going on with a really good space cider. So it's great. It really is.
Jeremy, what has popped on sounds special. I'm sure it is.
We've kept a few casks back for the to mark the occasion. Not just whiskey either. We kept a wee cask of rum back for this. So there's a wee 97 Coroni sitting in the warehouse. At some stage, it's going to be bottled.
Wow.
So. Someone's posted that question twice. It looks like he's really wanting me.
Anyway, he's keen. He's keen for the answer.
Well, I was going to ask it, but I thought we've maybe covered most of it already. It's Jeremy's own fault for turning up late. So.
With the increasing cost of whiskey casks. Oh yeah, we have, I suppose.
Yeah, we have. Indeed.
Yeah, so just looking further afield.
This is more important. Juliet's looking for you to take a sample of the Milton Duff to Lucerne, so I think that's probably a fair deal.
I can try. I don't even know if I've got it. I might be able to, Juliet. Yes. I'll tell you what I am bringing to is the new blend that we're working on. So you'll be able to try that. But I'll see if I can get a Milton Duff sample as well.
Yeah. I'll just say Jeremy was part of our academy last year. We're not being rude, Jeremy. We just don't want to bore the rest of the guys by going back and doing everything again. So you have about an hour of alternative goodness to go back and watch again. So you'll find out everything.
You say goodness. Don't bother, Jeremy, to be honest.
Ian, I wouldn't worry about misspelling Colin's name. Colin? So there you go. Colin from Allness. I wouldn't I think I've done more than enough to offend Connal tonight. So Ian, you've got a free pass. You've got a free pass. I'm well and truly on the naughty step, so you're all right, mate.
Oh man.
I wasn't going to mention this, Russell, but thank God this is your last Blether, because you just offended our guest so much tonight.
That's been my game plan. Fuck it up, blow it up.
He doesn't care anymore. No, not at all. Not at all. I've been called worse. You can call me what you like, just don't say I'm from Allness.
Ian was asking about highball recipes. Do you know anyone who has great highball recipes? He's never tried to make a cocktail before.
Well, I mean, a highball is to call a highball a cocktail. I think is a pretty
That's a bit like calling a lager and lime a cocktail, isn't it?
It is a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I suppose if I was going to say is use some decent ice. I think that does make a difference. Use a good block of ice, and for me, the perfect highball is 1/3 ginger ale and the rest soda. So not just completely soda water, just a touch of ginger ale. Too much ginger ale is too sweet for me, but I like it just with a touch of ginger ale and the rest with soda water. It really does.
I do get a bit anal about my ice and cocktails as well. In a standard, you go to a pub, you expect kind of small cubes, but directional frozen ice in the big blocks.
It makes a massive difference.
Or something like that. It's a must for me.
It really is. It makes a massive difference in a drink, and they really know how to do it in the bars in Tokyo. It was just unbelievable. The craft and the art that they do, and everything that they do. If it's just serving you a dram, absolutely, they've got the whiskey. I mean, it's the first time I've ever been in the bar, and I'm looking at the Cadenhead dumpies. The old school dumpy bottles that you just do not see anywhere, and if you do see them, you can't afford them. But to be able to, I mean, I had a Kinclaith. I've never tried Kinclaith before in my life. you know, and a Banff and something else, and just being able to try these whiskies from yesteryear was pretty special. So you just don't see them anymore.
I think before we talk about Andrew's comment, which obviously, as you said, you've got these people chasing it. People speak about Japan as being one of these places you go to where everything is just upside down. It's just like almost impossible to be able to comprehend. Was it like that? I mean, it's one of the countries I've always wanted to go to.
Yeah, in regards to culture shock, yeah, I suppose it is. But I settled in really quickly, to be honest. You know, I really got on well with the people. People are wonderful. The food is just ridiculously good. I think there's like, not that we dined in Michelin star, but you know, I believe there's more Michelin star restaurants in Tokyo than there is in France, or something ridiculous like that.
Right.
So they really, and I'm not just it doesn't need to be fresh, crisp linen and crystal glassware to be a Michelin star. I think there's like a street vendor in Tokyo that's got a Michelin star.
Wow.
So yeah, I think, you know, I mean, the food, generally the food is amazing. One of the highlight experience for me in regards to cultural shock was I went to this bar in Tokyo called Mizunara Cask. That's the name of the bar. Exceptional bar, probably one of my favorites in Tokyo that we visited. And we sat down. It was at sort of the end of a tasting session that we had done, and there was some sort of canopy style food coming out in the sort of courses, and they had done their own version of haggis, and they did this and they did that. And anyway, they served this sort of little mini fish and chips. And the fish was lovely. It was really meaty and quite distinctive. And I didn't really know, you know, what it was, but it was lovely. Anyway, we asked them, the owner who was hosting us, what fish do they use generally for their sort of tempura fish and chips. And so they said something. Well, this is not the normal fish. We actually used fugu for you guys. And I was like, fugu, and he was like, yeah, blowfish. I was like, oh, the fish that kills you, cool.
Yeah.
You know, the fish that you have to, you know, sign a waiver to eat before you eat it, and you have to have a special chef prepare it for you. Yeah. We just got served it, and I didn't even know. Which that was quite funny. But yeah, I suppose if you're going to go, you might as well go that way, right? But no, it was yeah. I highly recommend it if you enjoy. You don't, you know, Japanese whiskey wise. Did I get to buy a lot? No. You can't really see it. You can't really buy it. I mean, I went to Chichibu to buy a bottle of Chichibu. No, you can't.
Really?
No, yeah, but you can try lots. You just and they're fair with their drams. You know, they're not extortionate pricing. But it is a different world.
And Tokyo was such a populated city. Did it feel like that?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I mean, but no more so than London.
Okay. Really?
No
Okay.
more, yeah. So if I mean, I can handle London in small doses, but
Yeah.
you know, I think definitely no more so than London. And in regards to the streets, on the streets, not really. No, the public transport at busy times is very busy and very congested. But no, it was great. I would highly recommend going.
Yeah, no, definitely on the list for sure. Yeah.
It sounds incredible. And I guess one of the perks of doing what you do is getting to visit, albeit in a work scenario. You obviously get the social side. And again,
I'll be back, guys.
This is when we get to just about the hour and 3/4 mark. Russell's bladder tends to give way, and it's a sign that you're an entertaining blether that Russell has to go for a pee halfway through.
I thought he was just going to go get another beer.
I thought he was going to get a map and find out where Alness was compared to everyone else.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny again. I was speaking to Kenny at the weekend from Dramore, and he was saying he's only spent 7 nights this I can't remember, it was this month or this year so far in his own bed. Do you find that as well as part of your role? Are you traveling a lot, or do you get to spend quite a lot of time at home?
I will. I mean, that was a month away, but that was 3 huge markets, and when you're going that side of the world for the first time, I mean, literally, that was the first time I had been in these markets in the pouring single malt for the first time. Okay, the whiskey's been there. Ardnamurchan's been there for the last 2.5 years through COVID, but we haven't actually been there to present it. So, we wanted to make the most out of being out that side of the world. To be honest, Graeme's done a lot more than me this year. He's really come out of the traps. I think he's now. I mean, he's currently in the Netherlands. He's already been to the Netherlands this year, and we're still in March. But yeah, look, I think Kenny's done an awful lot of traveling. I mean, based on his Facebook, he's always at Schiphol Airport. But no,
I guess a two-man team as they are, I suppose.
They are. They have to get out there and bang the drum themselves, and I have full admiration for that. And so much energy he has. He's great. But I mean, I'll be in Switzerland next weekend, off for a wee bit over Easter, and then I'm off to the States. So yeah, it does take its toll, and it does sound wonderful. Traveling the world doing this, and I'm not going to ruin the romance for people, but it's not all what it's cracked up to be. Let's put it that way.
How much does that community? We always talk on these Blethers quite often about the whiskey community is very small. It's quite tight. Although you're all rivals, you're all friends and stuff. How much does that play a part in you traveling across the world and then walking into a room and seeing people like Juliet and Kenny and Andy, these kind of people, and there must almost be an instant like home has come to you.
It's the best feeling in the world. Seeing someone that a familiar face, however far it may be, whether it's Budapest or Christchurch in New Zealand. I spent a lot of my time with Jamie from Glenturret out in New Zealand. Dave Allen from Springbank. It's great to have familiar faces and feeling the same way you're feeling as well. Away from home. It's part of what makes the whiskey industry special for me is the fact that you talk about competitors. We're all in the same market, but we're all very close, and you guys know that, and I think that is unusual. It is an unusual thing.
I can't think of another industry it's like it.
No, neither can I, and that's why I love it so much.
You just really want to support each other because you know how hard the job is. Because people think, you customers come into the shop and say, "But this isn't really a job." You're like, "Well, actually, it is." I might love it, I might have a passion for it, I can't stop talking about it, but it's still hard work. And there are times that you doubt yourself. There are times you doubt your knowledge. There are times do I know enough? Have I said the right things to that person? All that kind of stuff goes through your mind. So the fact that we support each other with that is phenomenal.
But there's, on a grueling European fare, and the European ones they're great, but they're also really intense and almost unnecessary in regards to the length that they go on for. Standing in a cold church for 12 hours on your feet is maybe but it makes it all worth it, because after the event you're usually together with other brand ambassadors, other people within the trade, having a nice cold beer and something to eat and just chatting about your day, and that you forget instantly about the 12 hours you just spent repeating yourself. But no, it's not all like that. It's not all like that.
Brilliant. I can imagine it's like every job, I suppose it has positives and negatives. It's how you handle each, but having that team there must be amazing. Andrew's just popped on again. I doubt your geography, Russell, but your whiskey knowledge is fine.
Andrew likes to give me a kick now and again just to see it's you. Oh,
I think he's going to keep kicking as well. He's going to keep kicking.
Absolutely. If Andrew's not kicking you, you're not doing a good job. It's as simple as that. He knows how much we love him.
Just on his comment, he mentioned about my pub. So I don't know if you know, Connal, I've also got a pub in Inverurie as well. The Black Bull.
If anybody wants to buy it, by the way, I've been trying to sell this pub for the last 2 years.
It is for sale. So cash or whiskey casks will be greatly received.
I'm not an estate agent, but I tend to try and sell my.
Oh, and we've got a pub. The pub is actually officially titled now. The Black Bull Inn. It's for sale. Do you want to buy it?
If anybody wants a double, you could actually buy a pub in Inverurie, and you could have a house in Aberardner as well. We could do a double deal.
But just go back to the ice, Russell, Andrew. I will backtrack a little bit and say, when I'm drinking it home with a cocktail, I like to have proper good ice. When I go to the pub, you expect pub ice, so it is clear, but it's not thick proper ice. So I'm going to throw in my caveat there.
The proper apple, whatever. What was that cocktail he gave us anyway? Andrew, what was it?
Oh, the Calvados and Springbank.
Yeah.
We made. That was...
No.
Oh,
The
no,
one
no,
down
the
at-
one
the one down at
with
Lodge.
yeah, with the sweet drams.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
Did
a
you
whole
get to
bottle.
try- Did you get to try Little Brown Dog's Calvados, Connal? I'm pretty sure you must.
Yes, I have tried that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Incredible. It's yeah.
Have.
And like yourselves, venturing into different spirits and stuff. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we've done. I think we did 2 Armagnacs. I don't think we've done anything else. We've done a few rums, but yeah, always looking at different avenues. Never say never.
Yeah, absolutely. From an Ardnamurchan point of view, I mean, just because I've just actually left because I've got an old man bladder, and I get to do these kind of things these days. I'm reading Richard Osmond's book. Richard House of Games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Richard Osmond, yeah. So he's got this Thursday Murder Club, and they're all old people. And I'm starting to think I'm actually getting to that stage now where I can please myself just like they can. So I can disappear away to go to the toilet. You can do all that kind of things when you get older. But we had some lovely cod for dinner. Rachel's a fantastic cook, and the house has got that lovely aroma of a nice seafood restaurant where that beautiful seafood smell. And having supped on the Ardnamurchan with that lovely aromas in my mouth and in my nose, going out and had that sort of mingling with the seafood as well, just fabulous. So from a food and pairing point of view, is that something you're looking to do with the Ardnamurchan?
I think whiskey dinners. We talk about wine dinners all the time. I think whiskey dinners done well are exceptional experiences. And we've had the pleasure of being part of a few. I think the Ardnamurchan spirit whiskey in general leads itself to go well with food. I think there's a saline quality to Ardnamurchan. There is a salinity there, a very obvious salinity. I've got a rough idea about where it's coming from, but it is quite obvious. And obviously, saltiness on the palate, it makes you want to have another wee sip, another dram, responsibly, of course. Mm-hmm. But I think it does go well with food, and I think in that regard, where that just to deep dive quickly into that salinity approach. My theory is that it comes from our reduction water. Now, we talk about water, we disregard water almost instantly, and I would agree with production water because you're just boiling it to death. Mm-hmm. But if you talk about reduction water, so when you take something off the still at 69-70% and you reduce it down to 63.5, our reduction water is just coming straight off the hill in Ardnamurchan. Now, I don't know where you were staying, Russell, and I don't know if they had filters or whatever in the holiday cottages, but if you run a tap in Ardnamurchan, it's peaty water that comes out of that tap, and it's certainly not crystal clear. In fact, it's
the bath was brown, the toilet's brown, everything's brown.
It's brown, right? So there's nothing wrong with the water. It's soft, peaty, mineral-rich water, but that's the water we're using to reduce our casks from 70 down to 63.5. So I would suggest that and we're right on Loch Sunart, so it takes that maritime climate, the rain, the peat, the water is coming, and we're putting that into our whiskey. So that my argument would be that's where our texture and salinity is coming from. I obviously don't know that, but it's certainly something that I would argue the case for, because if not, I've got no idea where it's coming from.
Yeah. It's. I mean, Juliet's seconding me. She had a halibut smell lingering in the background. Husband was cooking, but with the Ardnamurchan cask strength, it was simply wonderful. And there's just something about that. I think for me, Ardnamurchan, every time I have it and I have some seafood for dinner, that after taste, that after linger is just beautiful, just phenomenal.
It's really good to have Ardnamurchan just for the hell of it. Or sorry, hell of it.
That's the wrong place for that joke, I tell you. We could, yeah. We could be here forever with this.
Yeah. Let's stop. Let's stop.
Yeah, let's stop now.
Quit. We're up. While we're ahead.
Absolutely.
And a good cook.
A good cook husband, yeah, for sure, Julia. I need a good cook. I've got a good cook wife. I don't need a good husband, so I'm fine. Yeah.
Oh, here come the fish.
They're already poor souls.
Here we come. Here we go.
Well, I guess you're saying there, Connor, you don't know where it comes from, but there is that sense of place, I suppose. Some people call it terroir, some people are adverse to that. There's something there. I mean, we got
you dropped in a Dave Brew Mark Rainier kind of double entendre.
We are. Yeah, I know we're probably looking at not starting another hour-long conversation. Do you believe that there's something in the area that you're distilling, maturing that makes that unique? If you picked up Ardnamurchan and put it in the middle of the Highlands or in the middle of Japan, whatever, the spirit is going to be different.
Yes.
So that sense of place, maybe not terroir, but
no, not terroir.
The immediate environment is effective.
Environment, yes, I think so. I think so. But isn't that why we love whiskey? Because we can debate these facts and no one's right. Yeah. You know,
debate them, not argue them. Yeah.
You debate them. Yeah. No, we don't need to argue them because no one knows if we're right or wrong. But I think I do believe that, you know, where we are situated lends itself to the flavour of our whiskey. I do believe that, and we haven't manufactured anything for Ardnamurchan to taste like that. We just make the best spirit we possibly can. We fill it into the best casks that we can buy, and we let them go to sleep. And that's simply the end result is what's in your glass. And I think, you know, that's where that black art is. You know, that sort of who knows. We can all have a guess. We can all say this. We can all say that. But yeah, I think that's why we all love it, and I think that's why it's the best spirit on earth. You know, is that because you can do that, as you said. You pick Ardnamurchan up and you put it in Taiwan or Japan or America or whatever it may be. It's going to come out completely different.
Yeah. And just for the guys, everything that you cask, you feel like cask is matured on site.
Yeah, so everything that we do is matured in our 7. It's 6 technically, but I always count warehouse 1 as 2 because it's got a dual layer. So it's 6 warehouses. Everything's stored now. 15,000 casks lying at Ardnamurchan.
Wow.
What's that?
That's wow. I'm saying that's wow. There's 15,000 there now already. That's fantastic.
Yeah, 15,000, and we've been eating into them over the last couple of years as well. So we are replenishing, and you know, the last 2 years now we've achieved 400,000 liters of alcohol, which is, you know, obviously small fry compared to some others, but you know, that's big for us. For a single malt brand, you know, that doesn't have any intention in selling to blending at all. You know, maybe our own stuff, but we're not selling it off as blending stock. So we're I would say we're sort of small medium size, but everything's on matured on site. We don't bottle on site. It doesn't make any sense to bottle on site. I mean, that's just more lorries coming in and out. So we take the casks out and we take them down to Fife, where it's much easier for logistics and everything else. So
is that blended in Fife as well? Then the casks move, or is it tankard?
No, we don't have the facilities to do that. So we ship the casks down, and we vat. We have a huge vatting tank.
So I just want to know, for the sake of romanticism, is that all by road, or do you use the Connal ferry?
Mm-hmm.
We have to use the Connal ferry.
Yes. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. There's something brilliant about that.
But the problem is that they're still on the wee. So they've got 2 sizes of ferries. So they're still on the wee ferry. So they take out the wee ferry in November time. So we've got to get our big cask load in before the wee ferry comes on.
Yeah.
Because if not, our lorry driver's got to go. He can't even make it. He's got to do it in 2 lorries. So we obviously we don't want to do that, because obviously that's just it's just a waste, and it's not good. It's actually good for the environment. So we want to make the most of one trip. But they haven't put the big ferry back on yet, so we're in a bit of a quandary just now. But so we have the Connal ferry is very much part of our commute, if you will, to Ardnamurchan.
I think that makes it even more. For me, makes it even more. Every single ferry journey or water crossing is a special event for me.
It's the most expensive public transport in Europe, I believe.
I'm sure it is, but
I think it's £10 for 45 seconds.
Oh, really? British public transport,
I genuinely don't know how long it actually takes, but it's. Someone told me once it's the most expensive in Europe.
Per mile.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Micah. Colin, it's been absolutely fantastic having you. We're now at 2 hours on the nose. We said right at the start we weren't going to even dream of 2 hours.
Seems at the right time to.
But thank you so much for coming on and joining us. It's been great. I apologise for the barrage of abuse, not just from my co-host Russell, but from the Smiths who's out there.
You're aware there's a genuine love for people like yourself, and that that's there. It's not to be challenged. So yeah.
No, listen, it's great to come on and have a chat, and I haven't done one of these in ages actually, so it was good when it came up on my calendar, and it's you guys keep doing the good work you're doing, and we'll try and do the same, and hopefully Ardnamurchan will keep rising, hopefully, and people hopefully keep on enjoying it. I think that's
I'm sure there's absolutely no doubt about that, whether it's in RC or Ardbeg or whatever whatever concoctions we can
hard to say. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it'll just be Ardnamurchan chaps, but yeah, we'll
absolutely keep it that way. Really.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. So at this point in the night, Connal, just if you can please hold on when we go off live, we'll just say a quick cheerio to you before we head off. But for the guys that are online, this is no time when we tell you what's on next week. What I will say is what's on next week. We're moving to Friday. There's a reason we're moving to Friday. It's not particularly Blether. It's to do with me heading off, and very, very grateful to Mike for allowing that to happen. So special night next Friday. Please join us, 31st, 7 o'clock. I won't say too much about it right now, but there's a couple of cracking guests, and you're going to love it. It's going to be a good laugh. It's just a bit of fun. So please join us. The week after that, the Blether will continue as it should, with Kat, our wonderful new host, and Mike with a hat, and Killian will continue to.
We're going to have to call it Cat and the Hat.
Cat and the Hat, not Cat in the Hat. Cat and the Hat. Absolutely. But you've got the wonderful Christian Sherry, a great whiskey writer within the whiskey industry. So fantastic evening for you. Head back. I think it's about the 5th or 6th of April, round about then. I'm not sure. So yeah, so looking forward to that, guys. So, but in the meantime, good night for the Blether. Slans to everybody. Please join us again next Friday. Connal, thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you again soon, mate.
Also, just before you press pause, just thank you very much for. I don't think the Blether would be what it is without you. So thank you for sticking around. You never know, we might have you back as a guest.
Well, you never know.
Carnage, and I don't know, after the way you treat our guests, I'm not sure how that could work. We will send you an A to Z of where we come from, not to mention what places that we're not from and all that. But guys, thanks very much, and hopefully we'll see you all next week. I'll be on a Friday night.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Cheers.